Welcome to another episode of Fire Up the Ovens. This is your host, Nomad McGover. Game on, game over. So listen to this one. Sometimes when I'm going to the church, right? I see the crutch, right? And I see the Jesus, right? And I look it backwards and I see the word sausage, right? And it's like a sauce age. It's like the age of sauce. Like what kind of sauce, right? It's almost like the blood. Drink the blood, right? But it's not good to drink blood, right? It's unnecessary, right? But also, when I see the sausage, when I see the Jesus, I also see cheeses, right? I see lots of smiles, right? So when you see the Jesus, you see sausage and cheeses, right? It goes to show you that the Italians, we always in control, right? Because we like it, the sausage and the cheeses, right? Now, with that said, when I see a carpenter, right? You see a repenter, right? And it is very important to repent, to show the contrition, right? To reconcile the bad thing you did it, right? Against the right way to do it. And then what happens is you do it better the second time around, right? You don't go back to the same thing, because it's like a dog returning to the same vomit, right? This is what Peter, the apostle, talked about it, right? He said, going back to the same garbage is like a dog returning to the vomit, right? But other times, when I endeavor into entrepreneurship, I enter the repentership, right? This is the tutorial, right, of how you move it from the consumer to the producer, right? And then there is a thing that you get it, right? At the end of the work that you do, it is called a commission, right? When you make a sale, it's a commission, right? It's like when you're going sailing, right? And the great commission that the Jesus said it, right? He said, go forth, right? Go forth, right? And create many nations, right? And I do this, right? I am the king of the clear blue sky nation, right? Because I have... see this? I cannot even stand because I'm so busy creating new nations, right? That sometimes I fall over like Nomad McGover, right? Because it's so exciting that the great commandment, right, is to love thyself, right, like love thy neighbor. But it's not that great of a commandment if your neighbor is a piece of shite, right? Well, so you want to do is you want to not honor thy mother and father in terms of doing whatever they say it, right? What you want to do it is honor thy mother and father in terms of being your own self, right? Be yourself. Honor yourself. And if you honor yourself, then you honor your mother and father, right? Because G-O-D is a shortened word for good, right? And the devil is a shortened word for the evil, right? So it is not like the actual devil is chasing you, right? You have to learn how to keep it separated with the cross, right? It is a cross is like scores, right? You want to keep score with the cross, right? Like the Santa list, right? Santa Claus, not Satan's claws, right? Actually the Santa, right? He said it, you make the list of the good, doop, and you check it twice. Not just one time you look at it, You look at the people, and then you re-look at the people through the eyes of the good, and what is they doing in the bad, and you reconcile it, right? And you're taking the pros and you're taking the cons, right? See, there was a man, his name was Benjamin Franklin, right? And what he did was he had a publishing company, right? And he used to play many faces, right? Sometimes he would be the old woman, sometimes he would be the young lady, sometimes he would be the old man, sometimes he would be the young man, right? He was Benjamin Franklin, right? In other words, he would give it to you and jam you with Frank lines, right? But he did the T-chart. Ben Franklin T-chart, right? And what he did was he separated the pros from the cons, right? And if you are a pro, that means you have rope, right? That means you are good at creating a virtual rope that takes in the good, right? And you separate it from the bad, right? Because the bad is something called a con, right? And you do not like a con artist, right? Because a con artist is somebody who is playing silly games, right? Not being authenticated, right? In other words, sometimes they hit you with a love bomb up front, then you liking it, they becoming your tag team partner, like in the WW thing, right? And you wrestling with this person on your team, and you're kicking the butt, right? You and the partner is like the hawk and the animal, right? And you killing it, right? But then notice that the hawk and the animal, they stay tag team the whole time, right? But almost every other teammate, they don't do this, right? They do what is called the heel turn, right? So what you have to do it is when you get the love bomb and you have the tag team partner, all of a sudden, when you see it, the one of it starts to act like a Shawn Michael, right? The Marty Jannetty is the hard worker, right? Doing all the really good hard work, right? But he's seeing that the Shawn Michael start acting like what is called the prima donna, right? You have to look out for the person. All of a sudden, they're doing the heel turn. They're no longer treating the hawk like the animal and the animal like the hawk, but all of a sudden, they're giving you the savat kick and throwing you to the window at the Brutus Beefcake barber. You know, you don't want to end up being the one going through the window at the barber shop, right? What you want to do it is you want to cut your own hair, ideally, you know, like I do it, with a little bit of shave, right? For yourself. It's called DIY, right? You do it yourself. Like the Rick to life in the 25 to life, who is the hard worker, right? He bring the scene together and he worked hard to help the people to get noticed, right? But he made a little business mistakes, right? Maybe he was taking a little bit too much advantage, but then they turn on him and they treat him like bad person. But if not for the Rick to life, then who would even have the platform, right? So the Rick to life is like, why are you doing this to me, right? We were supposed to be the crew, hanging cool with the crew, right? But, you know, he learned the lesson the hard way, right? And we all sometimes have to learn the lesson the hard way, how to separate from the crew, right? Because sometimes it's better to go solo, right? You don't want to end up like a crazy Jew, like a Danny Diablo, right? Because he's blowing the D, right? You want to keep it real 100%. All times, at all times, right? Like I do it, right? Don't forget the Nomad Makeover is game on, game over. I'm not afraid of your crew or his crew or any Jew crew. You can all sucking the dick of the Nomad, right? Because I handle my own business. You can bring the 10 people, the 25, the 27, whatever it is you need it, but just know it, that you stepping to the Nomad, you're going to be dealing with another level of creature, right? I do not play games. I do not talky. You come to me, you taking the move, is going down, right? That's how we do it. Right? I try to avoid it. If you're a lot bigger and a lot stronger, because I'm smart. It's called the fight or flight. You don't do stupid shit, right? But if I think I could take it, I'm gonna give it. So make sure you know who you mess with and try to come in the one-on-one, right? Bring it heavy, because I could take it heavy. I don't stop it until there's nothing left. You understand it? And for those people out there who thought it was funny to kidnap my son, my scoutie, I've made a list. I've checked it 100 times. I know your names. The Google tells me where you live, the Gulag. You know about the Google, the Gulag? Yeah, anyway. I know how to find it. And you don't kidnap a man's son and hold it. Because what happens is the DDT, Jake Roberts, right? On Susej the concrete, right? I know stop. I see the scoutie's face in my mind's eye. And I look at it. And then I see your face. And I run right through you. Trust it. Doesn't matter. I've jumped in the middle of 100 men to slap a man up, bite the face off. I do what I got to do for me.